Hello, Facebook Live. I'm gonna just wait for people to jump on. It's so funny. It's just the lighting and the whole scenario of what's been going on has been interesting. So just being as real and as raw as possible without the perfect lighting, with the best location that I'm going to be in to have this conversation with you guys today. So waiting for a couple of you to tune in and log on and kind of see what's going on today. So as you log on, because I've got my phone flipped to the side, so please give me little likes, give me some hearts so I know you guys are all here tuning in, and also I'm gonna be able to take some questions as it's coming forward. So with that, happy Friday, everybody. I'm wanting to do this video as I'm now starting to do a couple of little new things with my own business and really focusing on stepping up in the healing space in the coaching field and really being able to provide quality and value to all the people that I love out here in the land of social media, but also just being a really big voice. So what I'm doing is creating this little shots of love, where these little tidbits and little videos and little blogs specifically that are being called Shot of Love. And so today's Shot of Love is all about intimacy. So I was just on a beautiful podcast with a girlfriend of mine, which you'll be able to check it out and see. Really, she's on iTunes. It's called Ignite Intimacy. And her name's Laura, and Laura and I were chatting. And as we were chatting today all about intimacy and what it is to spark and ignite, we started talking about the Me Too. And some of you have seen some of it in my article and what I've posted. Some of you haven't. It's all good. And what came forward for me was just sparking this invitation and conversation for each of us, where, you know, this week I was sitting at a dinner, a tribe dinner with community and friends, and there's a guy friend of mine who mentioned about how he's impacted by what's going on with the Me Too scenario. And what I want to talk about is how that's going to impact dating. How's that going to impact us with interacting with each other? What is the evolutionary opportunity that's showing itself? So think about, like, this has been going on since the beginning of time, since women and men have been together. There's always been some type of sexual harassment, and I'm obviously not condoning any of that. Being someone who's gone through that experience myself, I don't believe in the victim mentality. I've graduated from that space, and I truly believe that anything that happens to us happens for the betterment of our highest good and our evolution. I've learned that deeply through my plant medicine ceremonies. I've learned that through a practice and a tool that's called reframing, which a lot of you may or may not know, where you're able to reframe an issue as a blessing. Awesome. Thanks for all the hearts, you guys. Keep sending hearts and stars and everything and all those beautiful things. Oh, thank you. Love it. Lets me know you're there because I can't see who's there. And so reframing, right? It's a really powerful tool of being able to reframe an issue as a blessing. And through a lot of the work, I've been able to reframe scenarios like, you know, going into Me Too, being abducted, almost being abducted at gunpoint, because I wasn't abducted at gunpoint by a man and not feeling safe. And what I was able to do was, for so many years, I took that as far as like, I'm a victim, and, you know, men are dangerous and men are bad or men are wrong. And from that place, I've created a life, and a lot of women have created a life through catcalls or through upsets where they've contracted, like we've contracted and we've shut down in a way. And so what I've been able to do, which is why I want to share this with you, is do this reframing around what was the gift and the blessing in that scenario for me that I was able to see that helped me evolve. So yes, there was trauma. Yes, there was someone who held me at gunpoint. Yes, I was crying hysterically and trauma-filled. However, when I really break it down and I look at it, okay, how did this serve my spiritual curriculum? How did this actually serve me, like Josephina, as an individual? And whether you want to believe it or not believe it, but this is my truth. And what I've come forward to realizing is that scenario, hi Robert, hi beautiful, so good to see you. What I've come to discover and realize is that in that scenario, it was literally life or death. So we talk about survival, we talk about life and death scenarios, but how many of us have actually experienced a life and death scenario where you've had to actually fight for your life? Because we're not in primal times anymore. We're not in the hunter and gathering times anymore. So how often do you know your own strength? How often do you know that you could protect yourself And so for me, what I realized in that scenario was it gave me an opportunity to really know how fucking strong I am. That I could literally protect myself and save my own life. And what strength that gave me going forward as a woman to know that no matter where I am in the world, no matter what street I walk down, no matter who I'm talking to, it doesn't matter, because I pushed that edge and that limit, and I learned at a very young age that if it ever came down to it and I had to literally fight for my own life, could I do it? Not only could I do it, could I win and could I get away with it? And the truth is, yeah, because here I am today. So being able to reframe that issue is a blessing. And I want to use that with this whole Me Too. And again, if you're on there and you have a comment, please send me hearts and likes so I know that you're with me and you're liking the content. And if you have any questions about it, please chime in there as well. And with the Me Too scenario, it was interesting because a lot of people ask me, given my past and my history, how did this affect you? Being someone who's gone through so much trauma, how did this impact you? And how are you feeling about it? Did it bring up anything? And the truth is, when I heard it, I was like, wow, okay, it's obviously I'm not the only one that's talking about it. And hi, Erica Price. Thank you for being with us. And it not only brought up stuff for everyone else, for me, I wasn't as impacted in the immediate. When I first heard about it, it was like, oh, wow, okay, that's going on, and women harassing, and there's another whistleblower, and it's not an uncommon thing that goes on in the workplace, especially being a female in the workplace and working in the interior design industry and going to the slab yards and dealing with all of these men who look at me as an object or as a piece of meat that are now, in this raw, rugged field. So I've gotten a lot of, Me Too scenarios in the workspace. Absolutely. I don't know anyone who hasn't, whether you're a woman or a man. And I love the fact that people are having a voice. We shouldn't have to have this type of scenario in order for people to feel safe enough to voice themselves. But unfortunately, or actually let's say fortunately, this has happened because it's giving people an opportunity to have a voice, both men and women, to where this misbelief that if I speak my truth that I'll be abused or that I'll be victimized or that I'll be attacked or that it's not safe to use my voice. And so with this Me Too campaign that's going out and going around, people are feeling safe enough to actually have a voice, which thumbs up to you guys, men and women out there, for having the courage and the vulnerability to speaking your story and sharing your story. Because when one person shares, healing happens through all time and space for both men and women. So kudos to you guys for sharing. Really want to honor every one of you. I've been sharing my story for years, and I know how uncomfortable it was for me when I first started sharing. And what I see now is this beautiful evolutionary opportunity where I'm speaking to men, and men are asking the question, like, how am I going to show up? We're in a fun space or we're gathering. It's like, can I touch this woman? Can I hug this woman? And guys, I'd love to hear your aspect and your perspective on it. Is this impacting you? Comment below. How are you feeling about this in regards of interaction? Because what I'm noticing now is how this is going to impact the dating world, how this is going to impact the way that men and women are engaging together. So men, are you going to be comfortable enough actually taking the initiative now with women, right? I've been talking a lot about, and society's been talking a lot about men stepping up as a masculine and being empowered. And women want men to be empowered, and we want men to be showing up and stepping up. But now, how is this going to interact with us? How is the dance of intimacy now going to change? And so what I've been looking at and what I've been writing about specifically is this dance of intimacy. Last year I did a video about it, and I'm bringing up again because I feel like it's so on point, which is we have an opportunity to not blame or shame, but to train. So don't blame them, train them. And when I mean don't blame them, train them, I mean let's train each other as society. Not in a negative connotation, but in a positive connotation. Like, think about when you do a new job or you do a new task and you go and you get some type of training. So the same thing. There's a new training that's evolving as far as how are we going to interact with each other. Let's train each other how we want to be treated, right? And it starts with that dance of intimacy. Thanks for all the hearts. So keep heart and stars and likes so I know that you're there and following along. So if we train someone, then number one, that means that we step into personal responsibility. Personal responsibility for what we accept and what we don't accept in our experience for ourselves. So that's a really big piece. So taking personal responsibility means I will or will not settle for this type of behavior depending on the level of where you are in your self-love and what I've experienced. And so the more work that I've done loving myself, the more work that I've done being a fuck yes and having non-negotiables on the type of energy, the type of interactions that I'll accept for myself, not from an ego place, but from a place of authentic empowerment, and grace, then I get to choose, these are the types of interactions I want. This is the way that I want people to treat me. This is the way that I show up for others. And it's not an expectation. It's just, people don't know. People are not mind readers. So therefore, how are they going to know how to interact with you? How are they going to know what you want? Amen, sister. Hey, Anthony. So good to see you. How are people going to know how to interact with you? So this is also where a really great piece, a friend of mine, Scott Weinberg, and I have been talking a lot about this, which is radical consent. So at Burning Man earlier this year, we all went together and there was this really big buzz around radical consent and how that should be a universal principle of asking for consent. Now, not if it's going to be, hugging someone that you meet, or maybe it is, right? So you tune into that. I don't know where you are in your community or your level of consciousness and evolution of where you are, but I know that in my community, we hug each other, we kiss each other on the lips, we, give each other love taps, and for someone on the outside world, that could be seen as harassment. And for men coming into the circle, that could be so fucking confusing because there's these gorgeous men and gorgeous women that are here together and that are all in this place and positioning of being able to love each other and connect with each other. And yet from the outside looking in, it looks like there could be harassment and they could engage in that way and they don't know. So whenever you're in a new scenario, always go towards consent. And let me see, someone put a comment, Scott Franklin, don't take this the wrong way, but why do you show your boobs, especially in a talk like this? Maybe take better personal responsibility. Oh, interesting. Okay, Scott. Very good, very good. You're welcome to having your opinion. And the funny thing is, my breasts are actually in the light and they're covered up. And guess what? I'm a woman and I'm talking about this because it's exactly on this topic, my love, which is radical expression. And I can sit here and talk about these things and I can have this being shown. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. In fact, I believe that it's even more powerful about it. And the truth is, it's your lens of perception, brother. So thank you for your comment and your feedback. And it doesn't matter what we're wearing. That's actually the whole thing with the Me Too. I can be having this conversation. I could be naked if I want to be naked having this conversation. I'm being super real with you all. The most real that I've been. There's no masks here. This is all real. This is exactly who I am. If you'll come and see me talk, you'll see exactly the same way. So whatever's going on in your reality would then shift your focus into certain key points. So I would just advise you to drop deeper into your heart space and actually tune into the frequency of the words. So with that, going back into that, and again, if you have any other comments, please share them. I take them in, and I invite you as well to see about shifting your perception. It's not the wrong way. It's a matter of there's no right or wrong. And I accept all of that, which is my reality is created the way that I'm creating my reality, which is there's no right and there's no wrong for what I'm wearing. So I hear that, and I'm not going to dress differently. So thank you for your feedback. And there's absolutely no reason to dress differently. This is actually why we're having this conversation, is the whole thing with Me Too, of the judgment and the ideas that we have to dress differently or be a certain way in order to have these types of conversations or these interactions. But when we evolve from that expectation and that idea of what people should look like or dress like or be like or sound like, and instead actually tune in to the individual that's speaking, that's in front of you, to the love that's there, your whole world can change. And that's what I'm here to share with you, my brother. And that's what I'm here to share with all of us, is that we have an opportunity now to decide, how do we want to play in the sandbox together? right? So through this intimacy, through this Me Too scenario, through all of what's gone on, how do we want to play? How do we want men to show up? Men, how do you want to show up? How do we want to invite that opening for men to come into our lives? And so what I find interesting is David Data talks about how when women are so filled up, right? We're Miss Independent women and we're so filled up that there's no space for men. There's no space for the masculine to be able to come in and fill us, and therefore they feel like they're not needed. And there's been a disconnect from sex and love, where through disconnection of the heart and sex now goes into sexual acts. And if we look at the harassments that's gone on with Me Too, it's all about sexual acts. So what if we brought it back into the sensual play? What if we brought it back into this beautiful opportunity where we get to be in the senses again and we get to experience each other again from a place of scent, from sight, from joy, from love, from taste, and allow ourselves to play in a new way where we're connected to our hearts, where we're able to really deeply come from a place of love. And it's called lust, not love. My parents are happily married for 2 years. Beautiful. And it is, there's a difference between lust and love. There absolutely is a difference between lust. Lust comes from the place of an ego, right? Where love comes from the place of the soul. And we all have both of these things, and going into the duality of both. Like, we're here in this human experience to be able to navigate what is lust and to be able to navigate what is love. And that's up to us to decide what that is and what that truth is for each and every one of us. And the difference in the discernment is up to you to decide that. There's no one that's going to decide that discernment for you, whether you know what love is or you know what lust is. And for me, I've had many things where I've lusted over people, but guess what? That comes from attachment. So the more work that we do truly loving ourselves and letting go of attachments, right? Letting go of the attachments, letting go of a need for an attachment of someone else, then we're able to then let go and truly just be in love. Truly be in love. Now, what if we're living in this place of love and everything that we touch is love? So that hand that we put on that person, hey Stefan, hey Ryan, if we put on that hand on a friend and it's coming from love, the energy is what's going to change the entire experience. So remembering that we're in an energetic universe, the energy of lust, it's I want something. I want to take something. I'm going to get something. What can I get? Versus love is what can I give? Right? Two different types of energy. What can I give to this person? How can I love this person? How can I show up for this person? How can I share the gift of my being with this person? How can I share the touch with this person? So that exactly is the opportunity of discerning between lust and love, which is what is the energy that you're putting out? Are you trying to get something from somebody else, which goes into the Me Too scenario of all these people wanting to get something from someone? Versus asking for consent and permission to share a gift and to share your energy with someone. It's a whole different paradigm shift. It's a whole different way of being, which we're ready for now. We're absolutely ready for. But what are we doing as far as our part? Are we just ignoring and turning a blind eye? Are we also pretending like we're in this Me Too scenario, in this situation? Or are we looking at this as far as, okay, wow, how can I show up differently? Right? And men I know have had the same thing where men are lusted after. I've had many guy friends, even ex-partner, where they've had so many gay men coming up to them, wanting to touch them and grope them and holler at them and cat calls. It's not just an issue for women. This is an issue across the board for humanity. And that's why I say there's a beautiful call of action that we have now as a human race to be able to decide, how do we want to dance together? How do we want to play together? You know, and I find that when we tune into our level of love, when we really truly commit to self-love, then we can really truly commit to loving others and being a stand and a commitment for love, to where you're not accepting behavior. You're not accepting seeing your brother or your sister behaving in that way, and you're not afraid to actually call them out on it and be able to then help them and guide them in that way. So with that space, it's how can you be a stand for love? How can you be a conduit and a channel of luminosity, of healing, of play, of pleasure, of joyfulness? All of that comes with love. Yes, lust is there, but do we act on lust because lust comes from the ego? Or do we choose to evolve past just our lower chakra primal desires and allow ourselves to move up the chakra system and up our sacral system and raise our energy into our heart space? So then we can operate from that and actually transcend as a human race an evolutionary opportunity that's here to evolve from old programming from our primitive days. We're not cavemen anymore. We're not out there handling and pounding on things and, you know, taking each other and doing, like, we're in a place now where we're in homes and we're in more of a civilized place, and we're you know, mating, and you get to decide what it is that you want to do and what it is that you want to be. I'm going to just take a little look. There's a lot of comments that are going on. If you're loving this, send some notes and see what's going on here. Looks like there's a lot of activity. Beautiful. Thank you, Trudy. Hi, Stefan. Ryan, sounds like you're working out your personal stuff in real time. Scott, bravo. It does sound like that. Let's see what's going on here. Hi, Scott. Scott's parents are his gurus. Scott's parents are his best friends and then lovers. That's how Scott rolled. Awesome, Scott. There's no judgment. Whoever is your guru, whoever is your life and your journey, brother, like, you're supported exactly wherever you are right now in your life. Hey, David, this is such an important message. You're nailing it. I haven't seen anything yet this awake on me too. Full personal responsibility. Love the upgrades. Yes, thank you so much. Absolutely. This is about the personal upgrade. This is about a DNA upgrade. This is about a cellular upgrade that's possible for us right now in humanity. This is not just this shame or some blame and being able to point the finger. This is an opportunity for us to really evolve if we look at it as this opportunity. And this is why I'm voicing on it, because this is the information that I've gotten for us to share, is that we collectively can be the voice. And this is an uproar for both men and women to now be together united. Scott, never once crossed the line with any women ever. Okay, beautiful. Hi, Erica. So good to see you. Okay, beautiful. Okay. To show up. So let's see, who is this? So someone comment. Okay, so Jordan, hey, brother. It seems that female must open the door for the man to show up. Gone are the days where the men are supposed to be able to read the signs or our minds. I believe it will flow back to women. Yes, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Like, men are not mind readers. There's no way that men are reading our minds, and women are not mind readers as well. But there is something to say with listening. There's a huge piece with actually listening, like heart-centered listening, instead of just allowing us to take the move or to make all the cues. There's also a beautiful piece for an evolution as far as how can you listen more deeply? How can you listen to and check perception, right? And create an invitation. Scott, this is ridiculous. Spiritual bypassing at its best. Hope you find unconditional love. Bye. Sorry, brother. Yeah, this is not spiritual bypassing in any way. And some people are not ready for this information. Some people are not at that level and that capacity, and that's okay, right? That's absolutely okay. And sending you so much love and sending everyone else that's in that same frequency and that mindset so much love, because this is why we're having these conversations, to spark that little bit of change or that seed that's planted and allowing our other brothers and sisters to be the voice of the change. This is exactly why we're in this positioning and conversation. Hi, Raphael. Love to you all as well. So my question then to you, each and every one of you, is how are you showing up in regards to the light of the Me Too? Are you going into blame and shame? Are you feeding into that? Are you going into added more segregation and separation between men and women? Or are you looking at this as an opportunity to grow and see through reframing, okay, yes, these scenarios may have happened to me, for me. What did I actually learn out of this? What was the gift? What was the blessing that came from these scenarios? And even this conversation, like, what was the gift and the blessing of him, saying that I should be wearing a different clothing for being on this video because my breasts are showing? Like, what a beautiful gift and opportunity that he presented to each and every one of us, because it sparked light in you. It sparked light in me. It opened something up inside of him, and it allowed for new dialogue to come forward. So this is the whole point of every single thing, every single person serves its purpose. There's always a divine rhyme and reason to why people show up into our experiences, whether we can see them in that moment or not. And so the opportunity is to be able to reframe and see, okay, where am I missing the gift here? What is the gift that maybe I wasn't able to see? And that's going to shift everything, because then you can show up connected to your gift versus connected to the trauma. And so that's the shot of love for today is, be the gift, be the voice of gift, be the voice of love, be the voice of change. And with this Me Too, give people an opportunity to speak up and to voice. And what I find to be true, and what I've also worked through, some of you may have read my article about Burning Man. Ryan, you are the gift. Thank you. I love you, and you are such a gift as well. I can't wait to see you later on in our program. We are in the spiritual psychology program together, so we will be having class today and all weekend, which I'm so grateful to be able to be in that program, and I'm so grateful to all of the people who've helped supported me in my GoFundMe campaign. We're working now this month on the IntelliKey, which is going to unlock even more of the human potential to be able to share more of this work with the world. And I'm so humbled and grateful to be able to be in this program. And reframing is a big piece. And where I was going with that piece is, being independent and talking about my story at Burning Man, and how there was this part of me that was in, control, needing to have control over the scenarios, because I didn't want to be a victim anymore, and I didn't want to have my life be the way that I don't want my life to be, very much in the role of the creator, and I'm creating things, and I want to be able to create exactly the way that I want to create. And yet it's a joke, it's a cosmic joke, because you want to make God laugh, tell him your plans, and then everything will blow up and things just go on and it's a whole other way. And so what I've discovered was one of the biggest things for me into softening, into opening, into allowing a dance partner to come in, and multiple dance partners to come into my experience, is knowing that life is a dance, knowing that it's going to ebb and it's going to flow, and you cannot hold on to a single thing. You have to let go of attachments, the good, the bad, the up, the down, the need to know exactly where this is going, the need to know where this is going to end up, whether or not this is your partner or not your partner, whether or not you're going to end up at the right dance party or the not right dance party, whether you're going to get that raise or not get that raise. There's all this angst and anxiety that gets built up. And what happens is we go into a state of contraction. So have you ever tried to dance with a dance partner who's contracted and stiff and rigid, and you're trying to guide them and you're trying to lead them, and it's really challenging and it's not pleasurable and it's not fun? And so I've been that rigid being, that person who's wanting to take the charge and lead the dance and be in that way. And I love that, and I still have that part of me. And there's an opening to allow masculine, an opening to allow life, God, creation, to really take me and move me in new ways and in new directions, And instead of being so filled up and contracted and closed, the opportunity is to be so filled up and soft and open. And then you can truly choose to enjoy that dance of life. And so even with this scenario of, I'm going to briefly go into this before I wrap, of, calling in the one, there's all of this talk, so much talk. And here in the Venice and LA community, there's, a book club. There's many book clubs all around, calling in the one and, having this person show up into your life and into your experience. And I'm going to see if I can actually change this so the lighting is not so dark. Well, I think it's the same. Boom. Okay, there we go. Just so you could see me in the light a little bit better. Perfect. So this whole idea with calling in the one. And what's hilarious to me is that this was an ongoing theme in my previous relationship, where it was this idea of him being really caught up in, am I the one? Is she the one? I don't know. Is she the one? Is she not the one? What does this mean? And it was exhausting. It's really, truly exhausting. And it puts us both in a state of contraction. And, in the last, I would say 2.5 years specifically, I realized that it doesn't matter, because that's all on the outside and it's just an illusion. There is no one. The only person that's the one is you or me, right? So calling in the one, wake up. It's you that's the one. It's more about returning home to the one. Home to the one means you returning home to you. You returning home to your heart. You returning home to your spirit. You returning home to the majesty of your being and the beauty of who you are. It's you coming right back to you. It's not about going outside of yourself. And what I've discovered was this whole phenomena of like, oh my God, is that my man? 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 Is that my woman? Is that my woman? Is that my woman? Is that my woman? It's like, holy fucking shit. How much does that not drain, number one, your life force energy, because it's completely giving your power away to some idea or some source outside of yourself. Number two, it's draining your entire system, because it's just contracting and in this overload of, oh my gosh, I don't know, and anxiety. And you're not able to actually soft and relax and enjoy the present moment of the person. And so a friend of mine said something to me so beautifully that I feel like is so permanent that I'd love to share, which is, he says, life is a dance, but he said to me, it's like music. What does music have in common with dance? And it requires you to be present. You're present when you listen to music. You're present when you're dancing. You're in the present moment. And so when you can just choose to be present with yourself, loving and accepting what is, stop trying to chase something outside and realize that you are absolutely everything. Everything. You are everything. You have everything. There is not an ounce of anything that is shortage in supply for you, my loves. You've got it all. It's just a matter of being witnessed and being seen as the embodiment of that fullness. And it starts with you really understanding the majesty of your own beauty and owning that and claiming that. And then residing in that space. And then different dance partners will come in. So the way to manifest this new evolution of humanity, the way to manifest your partner, to call in the one, look in the mirror. It all starts with you. Michael Jackson was so on. It started with the man in the mirror, the woman in the mirror, man, woman. It's the same thing. The same thing. Erica, I love you, girl. I love you. Yes, all day. Love you. Hey, Raphael. It's true, right? It's like, it's me looking at me. And so for those of you who have never done mirror work, or who maybe have done a little bit of mirror work, do some mirror work, you guys. Like, fuck, I cannot tell you how much mirror work has been to the backbone of my spiritual practice. It's something that I can do anywhere in the world. I've done it when I'm out at Pink in my community and I'm feeling off and there's new energies and I don't know what's going on, and I'll go into the bathroom and I'll look at myself in the mirror and I'll fucking call my soul forward and remember who I am, not the story that the ego wants to go in, right? Some scenario happens the same thing just more recently where I was caught up in an ego story as far as like seeking something outside, and just call yourself forward. Really call forward the soul and the fire in your eyes, knowing that you're above and below no one. You're immune to criticism. You have everything that you need inside of you. You are not at all in any type of shortage of supply, but in fact, you're in the surplus. That you are divinely guided and divinely supported in every single moment, no matter where you are in the world. And that you are a fucking majestic being. You are an absolute miracle. It is the miracle that you are here in this physical body, in this incarnation, here on earth at this exact time watching this video. Like, you are the gift. You are the miracle. The fact that all of these sperms went to get to this one egg to then create your life. And here you are, you know, spirit in this human physical experience. So enjoy this experience. And my invitation to you with this shot of love is practice seeing the love within yourself, seeing the loving essence, and choosing to decide how do you want to engage with the world, with men and women now from this place of radical responsibility. So thank you for tuning in. I love you all so much. I'll be doing more of these videos, more of the shot of love, and just keeping it going and keeping it flowing. Thank you all for your support, for being on this journey with me. Aho, Stefan, thank you. I love you. And if you have any questions on this, send me a message. I've been able to do a lot of this deep dive. I've processed a lot of this, and this is why I want to share it with you, because I've been in your positioning at your day at some point in my life, not too long ago, years ago, where I wish someone would have been communicating these things to me and sharing. And I do this so you don't have to learn the same way that I did. If I can make a little slight adjustment for you and plant a little bit of seed that's going to blossom into something beautiful, then I'm happy to do that. So love you all. Have a fabulous, fabulous Friday. I know I will be having a fabulous intensive weekend. So love you all. Ciao.